I've been honored to meet alums from around the world who are all doing great things. It makes my job so much easier when I hear that we make Forbes magazine for the most grateful alums, right? We're in the top 200. You guys are a great group, and today we're here to honor 6 of our fellow alums, and we have family and guests, and President Traverso and Kent, and I welcome you guys all here today, and let's have a good time.
I will say you as an alumni organization made an excellent choice. Your alumni board president is actually a constituent of mine, Mr. Damon Taylor, who lives in Ross Township. We should have carpooled together. They live about a mile away from us, which is pretty funny. So I'm here to let you know a little bit about an incredible alum of your college who has, in her 10 years out of college, done so much amazing good, and that's Maggie Guilbeau. Maggie Giel is an all-star in the Pittsburgh region. First of all, do any of you in the room know Maggie? I know Damon knows. Yes, okay. So Maggie is absolutely wonderful. I'm going to tell you a little bit about her career so far. I still remember 8 years ago driving back from Altoona, making the call to offer her position at Big Brothers Big Sisters, and just had a really, really good feeling about it. You do references when you are going to employ somebody, and she had worked forever at Ross Park Mall. I know Damon's been there. I know Aaron's been there. Ross Park Mall is kind of an institution out where we live. And literally, when in talking to her employers there, I got the feeling that if a bus was coming at the mall, she would have jumped in the way to save the mall. She was that loyal, that dedicated, and that meant a lot to us, honestly. She was up against another really good candidate. So she has done incredible work at Big Brothers Big Sisters. She started off in our site-based program, and some quotes from our colleagues. So Jan Glick, our CEO, said that she is all in on the programming that she does. She's amazing. She's so accomplished and delightful to be around, which I think everyone can agree with that. Board President D.Mgt said Maggie knows the young people in our program and does all she can do to help unlock their potential to become all that they can be as they transition to adulthood. That is definitely very, very true. 6 years ago, Maggie started our Mentor 2.0 program, which has been incredible. We've been able to serve more children every year as a result of that program. It's been really amazing. Actually, her husband Andy's been involved, Aaron's been involved, my wife, and I've been involved as well in Mentor 2.0. And it's great. I will say Maggie used to cry every session. She doesn't do that anymore, but she used to cry after every session because it was so amazing to see literally 100+ bigs and littles coming together. The principal of the school, Kim Saffron, every year at graduation always talks about how there's been a lot of great experiences, but one of them is always one of the best experiences for the kids is Mentor 2.0. Miss Saffron, Principal Saffron, said Maggie leads with her heart. All the students that have been matched and shepherded through Mentor 2.0 know how much she cares. She deeply believes in the power a mentor can have in a child's life, and she is always a joy to work with for these reasons. That's from Principal Kim Saffron. So Mentor 2.0 went so well that Maggie said, let's start something else new. So we started the Bigs in Blue program. Bigs in Blue is all about getting law enforcement involved in Big Brothers Big Sisters. We now have 5 programs within Bigs in Blue that Maggie has spearheaded and gotten going. The first one, actually, Mr. President, was where we live. It was the Ross Westview officers working with Westview Elementary. The programs are all very cool. I think the one that the kids are most impressed by, we actually have a program where kids, where I grew up in Greenfield, get to work with FBI agents and analysts. They actually get to go to the FBI and be mentored there. Chief Bruce Fromlack said, it is such a pleasure working with Maggie. She is thoughtful, knowledgeable, and caring. She does everything for the kids possible, and she's so professional and positive, always placing others before herself. Speaking of which, she's not just a great mom to Declan and Bryce and a great wife and family member to Andy and everyone in the Giel and the Bovaird families. She's also a great big sister as well. This is her little Gemma, who said, thank you for being someone that I can always talk to and can always talk to me. So that is Maggie Giel-Bovaird. She is, Thiel, you guys should be so proud to have her as one of your alums, and it's my honor to help present this award to Maggie Giel. So congratulations, Maggie.
Good afternoon, and congratulations to all the other awardees here this afternoon. It is humbling to be in such prestigious company. I'd like to thank the committee for selecting me to represent the young alumni of Thiel. I am standing here today because back in the fall of 2005, when I wanted to leave Thiel because small town Greenville was far from my suburb life of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, my dad, who was supposed to be here today but is being Pops, to my 3-year-old son who is sick today, could not attend, asked me what my plan was. I responded that I didn't have one. In true Giel fashion, he shot back that my answer was not an adequate response. That is when Peggy Miller stepped in and offered me my first on-campus job with Mike McKinney in their office. It was also a time that I needed to reflect on why I was at Thiel and what I wanted to get from my experience, and why I originally picked Thiel as my college decision. With that reflection, I discovered who I really was. I was a driven, outgoing leader. Blessed with those talents and clear vision in my future, I found all the wonderful things that the Thiel community has to offer. Now when I go and speak of Thiel, and I cry with the same story I do, like I did with you guys today, I tell people the key to Thiel is getting involved and finding your true home. I come from a family where working hard is the only way to succeed. My grandfather will celebrate his 90th birthday at the end of this month, and he still puts garage doors in 6 days a week. Because of the work ethic that was instilled in me at such a young age, I have dedicated myself to what I believe has been a very rewarding career thus far. I met my nominee, Tom Baker, 8 years ago when I started my job at Big Brothers Big Sisters of Greater Pittsburgh. Tom has been a wonderful mentor. He has demonstrated how one's enthusiasm and their calling for compassion for others can truly make a difference in the work that one does. Not many people can say this, but I truly love going to work every day. My career at Big Brothers Big Sisters has been fulfilling, but had it not been for the skills learned at Thiel and the encouraging work ethic from my family, I would have not been able to grow both personally and professionally at Big Brothers Big Sisters. I would also like to thank my husband, Andrew, who continues to be my #1 cheerleader. I will leave you with all this thought today. As my pastor says every week as the service ends, you go nowhere by accident, and this holds true to everyone in attendance today. Onwards and upwards, and go Thiel.
It is my pleasure to introduce one of the Young Alumni Award recipients, my favorite person, my husband, Kevin Farr, of the class of 2009, and I am honored that he chose me to speak for him. Thiel is an extra special place for us because it is here that we met over 10 years ago. Today, I'm going to speak about why Kevin is so deserving of this award, both from my perspective and from the perspectives of his coworkers. Kevin doesn't know this, but I solicited his coworkers for some insights to share with you today, so I'll be sharing a couple of those anecdotes throughout the speech. Kevin embodies the Thiel College mission in his daily life, working with older adults as a speech-language pathologist at St. Andrew's Village, a skilled nursing facility in Indiana, PA, where we currently reside. And speaking as a fellow Thiel alumna, I know that the empowering and diversified education he received here at Thiel is at the heart of his work ethic. His passion for caring for the geriatric population has given his work meaning and purpose in the often challenging environment of the skilled nursing facility. While his position as a speech-language pathologist requires him to treat older adults with communicative, cognitive, and swallowing disorders, he goes above and beyond his treatments to ensure that the residents feel at home. His coworkers and administrators often tell me of the joy he brings to the residents by singing with them, playing the piano in the library, sharing funny stories, and helping them feel comfortable. One of his coworkers shared some anecdotes, and I will now read to you what she wrote. She says, "I have seen firsthand the warmth, compassion, and patience he brings to the table, literally, when he is working closely with patients, whether they are trying a new food consistency or relearning how to swallow. It's exciting to see someone's face after their speech therapy session when they say, 'I got to eat bacon for the first time in weeks.'" His coworker went on to say, "There is a term widely used in the rehabilitation business called therapeutic use of self. It refers to the ways in which a therapist draws upon their own feelings, experiences, or personality to enhance the therapeutic process. No one more aptly demonstrates this than Kevin in his role as our speech therapist. He will find what's meaningful and entertaining to a patient, a special song, a rhyme, or even a line from a movie, and truly connects with his patients." She also said, "More than once, I have been on a unit where Kevin will arrive, clipboard in hand, singing and dancing, not to showcase his talents, but to make others smile, laugh, or cheer up. I often meet residents' family members in town, and one thing the families agree on is that Kevin is often their loved one's favorite healthcare professional. Recently, a resident's family member wrote a letter to St. Andrews Village after the passing of her loved one. She specifically named Kevin in the letter and wrote, quote, "You will never find a more caring speech therapist than Kevin. He is more than dedicated to what he does," end quote. It is because of these actions that Kevin received the Healthcare Worker of the Year award in 2016, early on in his career, from the Indiana County Healthcare Careers Consortium. Kevin always says to people and to me, "I work in someone's home." So he treats residents with respect and tries to create an inclusive community environment for the residents, their family members, and his coworkers. Another one of his co-workers wrote that she always notices Kevin's, quote, "kindness and empathy towards patients and people in general," end quote. She went on to say, "You see him walking down the hall with a smile on his face and stops to talk with residents and greets people along the way. Not only do the residents love him, but so do the residents' families as well as the employees." I am thrilled that Kevin's dedication to his field, to his workplace, and to the geriatric community is being recognized today, and I can't wait to see what the future has in store for him. I know he agrees with me when I say that his success thus far can be traced back to the liberal studies education he received here at Thiel College as a communication sciences and disorders major, which provided him with a theoretical and hands-on background needed to work with a large part of our society that deserves his care, his understanding, his expertise, and his humor. Kevin, I'm so proud of you that you won this award. Congratulations.
Okay, that got me a little bit. Thank you, Sheila. Good afternoon. Thank you. This is such an honor. I'm so thankful for this acknowledgement and also to be among these other Thiel grads. Congratulations to you as well. I wish I could say that I'm speechless, but fortunately for you, I'm not. So I'll try to keep this under an hour. First of all, I would like to thank the Alumni Association and the Alumni Board, David Hummel for graciously tolerating my lousy phone skills, the Brothers of Delta Sigma Phi fraternity for teaching me about loyalty and friendship, Dr. Nancy Antonino, who instructed me and guided me through my undergraduate program, my parents for always believing in me, my in-laws for welcoming me into their home 10 years ago during my senior year at Thiel, just down the road, Sharpsville. And last but certainly not least, my wife Sheila for nominating me and for always standing by my side, no matter how stubborn I can be. And I know these next few minutes are supposed to be about me, but Sheila will be defending her dissertation on Tuesday and officially will become Dr. Sheila Farr. So please give her a big round of applause. I'm so proud of her. My mom and dad, who are here today, have always instilled in me a sense of kindness and respect, for which I am so thankful. Although others may have not been so fortunate, I was blessed with a wonderful childhood where love was at the center. Growing up, one of my mom's many pearls of wisdom was always treat others how you would like to be treated. Another famous line of hers was, "Kevin, if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all." I didn't always follow that one. Years after the grueling task of raising me, my parents one day told me it was time to choose a college. I really had no idea what I wanted, but the more I thought about it, I realized that there was one thing I knew for sure. I wanted to find a place that felt like a community, felt like home. Thiel College was and is that place. During my liberal arts education at Thiel, my experiences allowed me to discover my potential and to more fully realize my purpose and my commitment to serve. I didn't always dream of becoming a speech therapist, but I knew without a doubt that I wanted to choose a career that involved my passion for helping others. Looking back at my time here, although I chose Thiel College 10 years ago, I recognize and am forever grateful that Thiel chose me. It took what I learned from my parents and molded it, refined it. The sense of community that I found at Thiel helped me to understand why we are all put on this earth, to serve any way we know how. That, I believe, is what Thiel College is, a special place, the ideal place to learn and to grow, not just as a student, but as a person. Thank you.
Good afternoon. How's everybody doing? Good. So today I have the privilege and honor of presenting Clyde Morgan with the Service to Thiel Award. Most of us know Clyde in many different ways, as a friend, a teammate, an athlete, a coach, a mentor, a husband, a father, and even a Hall of Famer. Clyde has been many different things to many different people at many different times, but the one thing that stays consistent is his innate ability to be an inspiration for others. Clyde has the ability to see the potential in people and help them to develop to become the best versions of themselves. His lead by example mentality, along with his infectious passion and energy, motivates people to strive to be better each day and to push for greatness. His lessons on being responsible, accountable, and learning how to overcome adversity have helped many people, including myself, and has set most of us on the path to achieve things we never thought possible. Clyde has been an inspiration to many, and he continues to motivate and inspire each day. So please help me in recognizing my coach, my mentor, and most importantly, my friend, Clyde Morgan.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Okay, this is homecoming weekend. This is a celebration. We got to wake up. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. All right, I appreciate that. Thank you for having me. Thank you to Roberta. She's been taking care of me for years, my wife and I. Jennifer, thank you to my beautiful wife, Jennifer, for always supporting me. Coach Jennifer, she's a mentor to many young ladies in our community and young men. It's a basketball coach and the coach of our family. Will Mills was my first recruit ever, and when somebody believes in your vision, there's something special about that, and I get butterflies when I see him doing the same thing. And my man DT, who kept me out of a lot of trouble here when I was a student, and I'm also able to look over and see Daryl Moore, one of my other former athletes, who, what I like to say, made me famous, made me look good, because he was special. And then Mike McKinney, who was a teammate of mine, and we bleed blue and gold together. This Service to Thiel Award, it's a little uncomfortable for me, so I'll be honest with you, because there's people that gave service to me that I don't have enough time to talk about up here, but I will talk about two, and one longer than the other. And the first person is Coach Fincke, who was the dad away from Youngstown for me, would get in my face with that voice when I needed it, and I needed it a lot. And he really pushed me, not just on a football field, but just in life, and helped me to be able to serve and take care of other young people. And then this next person, that's who should be up here right now. That's who I'm gonna make sure I mail, no disrespect, but I'm gonna make sure I mail that to her. And that is Roseanne Gill-Jacobson. She was my dean here, and she changed my life. You're talking about service. When I first met her, it was my senior year, and I was an RA and doing great on campus, and people had really put a lot of time in and developed me. And then I had one bump that almost ruined it, because I was helping someone, giving some service, helping them out that a lot of people didn't want to help, a classmate of mine, and he stole my brother's Olympic watch. And let's just say I didn't handle that well. And so the first time I met her, man, you guys who know her, that she gave me that finger, she went on one side and down the other. And then immediately start picking me up. And it started from that day when I first met her, and it continues now. Whereas I'm talking to her now, I keep looking over there because she's on FaceTime right now. Can you turn the camera around? Everybody say hello to Dean GJ. And I'll try to get through this portion of it without breaking down, but she saved my life, because I didn't trust a lot of people, and I remember coming here and going through my years at Thiel going, man, you know, people are really suspiciously too nice here. And it took, honestly, I had a lot of good people around me here, but it took when I met her, she had the opportunity to kick me out of school because I made a bad decision. But she decided to pour into me and help me grow. You know, when I wanted to propose to my wife, I went to see D.Mgt. When I needed advice about home life in Youngstown, that's what I went to see. When I was really nervous about a football game or a track meet, that's who I went to talk to. You know, so whenever I'm trying to develop young people, that's what I think about. I kind of always think, what would she do? How would she handle this? Because there's a lot of people that talk about service, but are you really serving? Or you're just serving when it's convenient, when it makes you feel good. Sometimes serving is laying into somebody and telling them something they don't want to know, making them uncomfortable to become a better person. And that's what she's always done, not just for me, but many people out there. So if you can, for me, let's give her a round of applause. And remember, it's a celebration weekend, so let's have some fun. Thank you.
It's my pleasure to be here to introduce Gary William Fincke for the Thiel College 2019 Outstanding Alumni Award, given in recognition of an incredible career, award-winning as a poet and an author. I've known Gary since we first encountered one another at Shaler High School, where we both were tracked into what he called, in one of his short stories, the Whiz Kids. And we had a rather arrogant softball team, undefeated for most of our high school career. I remember that about him. He was one of our power hitters. And he also kept all the statistics. And I never saw anybody. He had every statistic on every baseball player, every football player, everything. He was an observer, and he kept statistics on everything. By pure coincidence, we both selected Thiel College for different reasons. We'd been friends, but we were not each other's best friends. Once here, though, we decided to room together, which we did for all 4 years. We joined the same fraternity. We both started in the sciences. I think he was considering pre-med, although it is very hard for me to imagine Gary treating ill people and doing surgery and everything. You see, Gary is an observer, a very keen observer. He sees things more clearly than most of us do. He never misses anything. However, he was not really the kind of person that just plunged into things. He was more the person who would watch someone else do something stupid and then write about it. That's not to say that Gary didn't have his own adventures. He did. But you knew that one day those adventures would be a book or a poem, prize-winning books and poems. Those who read his book, Amped, will know exactly what I mean. He traveled with his son, Aaron's, sitting right over here, rock band, Breaking Benjamin around the country as part of his entourage. Well, he was there, but he was watching, laughing, thinking, and eventually writing. Oh, he had his fun, but his role was not entourage, it was observer. Well, Gary was also an athlete. He played on the Thiel basketball team as a freshman, but then quit to play intramural basketball for our fraternity. Of course, he followed up his high school interest in softball by playing for the fraternity intramural team. I hope intramurals are still as big a part of Thiel life today as they were back then. It was almost tribal warfare sometimes against some of our rival fraternities. But his passion was tennis, and he led the Thiel varsity tennis team. And once he began teaching at Susquehanna College, he took over the coaching job on the tennis team. How many famous prize-winning authors also coached the college tennis team, which he did for 21 years with 5 league championship teams, including one with his son Derek, sitting right there, that went undefeated in league play. But Gary went on to graduate school, even roomed with us occasionally during his time at Kent State. He went on to teach high school and college, but he really hit his stride when he reached Susquehanna University, where he founded and directed for 21 years the multi-award-winning Writers Institute, creating a visiting writers series, 4 annual magazines, and a nationally recognized major in creative writing that has grown into a program that enrolls 170 majors. He recently retired as the Charles Degenstein Professor Emeritus of English and Creative Writing. Along the way, he even took time out to write nationally distributed opinion columns for Scripps Howard newspapers for 22 years. I don't have the time to recite all of his honors and awards, and I hope you've taken the time to read them over in the brochure. But Gary and Liz were also devoted to raising a talented family. He met his wife, Elizabeth Walker, with us today, class of '68, while they were students at Thiel. His older son, Derek, already introduced, a creative director of an advertising agency, played tennis for him on a championship team. His younger son, Aaron, a professional musician, played lead guitar for the band that I mentioned, multi-platinum rock-selling rock band, Breaking Benjamin. His daughter, Shannon, who unfortunately couldn't be here with us today, is a visual artist, and her work provided covers for 3 of his books. It's an honor to introduce Gary Fincke for this award. Gary.
Jack couldn't imagine me becoming a medical doctor. He thought it was improbable. It was impossible, actually. But the things you do if you come from a working class family and you're a first generation college student, and the idea was to become a doctor or a lawyer or some such professional that people would recognize. I brought along, my speech is written on. So you think I'm going to be done here in 30 seconds, but what I would like to do, first of all, just simply to thank Thiel College. This is quite an honor, and I'm happy to be here. Some people I want to recognize, or some organizations, or some experiences. One, I thought I'd give a shout out to Alpha Chi Rho, the fraternity that Jack mentioned. We spent half our career here on social probation, but in fact, I think it became the double secret permanent social probation at some point later on. So what can I say about that? Except the reason why I mention it really is to note that 5 of us who were here concurrently have now received this award. Jack, who's standing beside me, Frank Mempa, who's sitting at the table, Mark Nordenberg, who became Chancellor of the University of Pittsburgh, and Jim Ummer, who actually, by coincidence, even in the dorm, lived right across the hall during our freshman year from Jack and me. So it was a group, I think, that for the most part were oftentimes majoring growing up, but at the same time, it was a pleasure and a joy for me, and probably socially a really good thing to live with so many talented and, as it turns out, brilliant young men. I'd like to recognize a couple people from Thiel College, some of which, because it's been 52 years since I was a student here, have passed on. But I want to mention Harry Petticord, who was the chair of the English department at the time. I specifically want to mention him because he's the person that when I was a junior here came up to me and said he would love to nominate me for a Rhodes Scholarship, which was just stunning to me because that's about as exclusive as it could be. He followed it up by saying, however, because he had read my transcript, and there were other classes besides the ones that I took from him. But what an influence on me. I'd like to mention Carol Holden, who the reason why I remember her is because I had several classes with her when I was a senior, and she talked to me as if I were an adult. In other words, welcoming me into that world ahead of time. And I'd like to mention Richard Hayes, who I have been in contact with recently, who provided me with a well-needed life lesson at some point when I was a sophomore here. I'll say a couple things about Susquehanna, mostly just to give you some idea of the joy I had in developing a creative writing program, primarily because one of the issues I've always had is I'm not very good with authority figures, but at Susquehanna, the people who I reported to were my colleagues. And I say this because I think that's really important. I think people will produce the best possible work they can if they feel they're being respected as human beings rather than as employees. That's my sermon for the day, I think. I do want, and I wanted to say one thing about the fact that, and in case anybody's here from an English department or some such thing, what I was able to do was recruit academically. That's the short version of what Jack just told you. And it's a way to provide 8% of the university at Susquehanna are creative writing majors. And we live in our own house and so on and so forth. Someone already said it was a joy to go to work. I really hated to stop working. As a matter of fact, this semester I'm back doing independent studies with some seniors in the program. The other people I want to recognize are my family. My parents long since died. My mother didn't have a real opportunity to see what resulted from all of this. She died relatively young. My father lived to be 90, and so he has at least some idea of what was going on. It's all about work ethic, but also both parents, at least to me, certainly lived according to a set of values, and even if it put them in opposition to others, my father stuck to his guns all the way to 90, believing in the things that he did, and even though we didn't necessarily agree, I completely admired him for that. And last, I'd like to at least make mention of my family, 2 sons who are here today. You see in the program, and Jack's mentioned what it is they've done. My contribution was to try to avoid making too many mistakes raising them, but the one thing I'd just like to say here in public, I just think they're wonderful men in every positive sense of the word. It's a joy to have them as my sons, and I'm so happy that they could be here. My daughter is in Los Angeles and about to have her 3rd child in about a month, and so on. And I would say the same thing about her if she were sitting here. And finally, my wife Liz, who I won't ask to stand up today, she's gone through this in about 30 book launches and recognition kinds of things, and I know she really doesn't like it. But the one thing I'm going to add to all my thanks to her is simply on this occasion to say, not only has she been a wonderful wife and companion, she frankly has been a lifesaver for me. Thank you all for listening.
Those of you who were here 2 years ago when I had the privilege of introducing Joe Nairn for the Service to Thiel Award, I think that am not going to repeat myself, so you will hear something different about Joe. It all started with a broken hand. At Thiel College in the fall of 1975, a freshman student was assigned to the admissions office as a student worker. He was a football player who had broken his hand in practice, and as a result, could not work in the maintenance department where many freshman football players were assigned. As director of admissions at the time, that broken hand was a break for me, because in Joe Nairn, I gained a student employee whose parents instilled in him the values that have served him well over his lifetime. Get to work on time, be willing to work hard, and don't always be thinking of yourself. Be interested in others and learn how you can do something for them. He became an intern in the admissions office during his senior year, and then as an admissions counselor. He left Thiel to pursue his master's degree at the University of Vermont, and then earned his Doctor of Management degree from the University of Maryland University College. Your program lists Joe's steady professional advancement from his days at Thiel to RIT to Finger Lakes Community College, and then to be named the founding president of Northern Pennsylvania Regional College in 2017. Joe's values and the mission of the Northern Pennsylvania Regional College complement each other. what NPRC is doing to improve lives through education and training, to meet the changing needs of businesses and industries in its service area, and to be nimble enough as an institution to adapt to different situations as they arise in the 9 counties that make up the northern Pennsylvania region. These all require leadership that can respond to these challenges quickly and effectively. Joe's education, his values, and his work ethic make him the right man for this job. But I can't talk about Joe Nairn without saying something about his sense of humor and quick wit. 2 traits that add as measurably to his leadership skills. My favorite story about Joe, and some of you have heard this, took place shortly after he became an admissions counselor at Thiel. As I worked with the staff in perfecting the admissions pitch that they were going to give to as they visited high schools, one of the staff used the word irregardless. As the son of an English teacher, I could not allow that word to be used in their presentations. And I told the staff that it wasn't a word, but if one of them could use it in a sentence, I would take them to lunch. Shortly after the meeting, Joe came to my office and said, "The city police went on strike and left Erie regardless." I did take him to lunch for that. I'm so pleased to be able to present Joseph T. Nairn, Thiel class of 1979, as a distinguished alumnus. His career and his personal involvement in the communities where he has lived have brought honor to his alma mater. Dr. Nairn.
Thank you so much, John. And thank you for mentioning family. The love of puns comes from my father, so I came by it honestly. Just want to let you know that. Throughout my career, and I am so humbled and honored to receive this. I know people who have received this before, and to be counted in their number is really very, very humbling for me. But it's all about family. I was fortunate to come from a family, as John mentioned, that instilled some great values and made sacrifices so that I could be here, that I could be at Thiel. Like others, I'm a first-generation student coming from a working class background, and the whole experience was new and different and was at times challenging. But I found a family here at the college that enveloped me and helped me along. John and I first connected in 1975 when he called me to visit the campus. I got here, and as a member of class of 79, found myself with a group of great friends that we lived together in the pit of Harder and then lived in Walter's house. I don't know if there's any significance to the fact that both those buildings have been torn down, but these were the places that we lived. Established wonderful relationships both within my own class and with others. Nancy Rouse, who's here, we got to work together in admissions. Donna Sofer and I were colleagues both here on campus and elsewhere. Just a wonderful group of people to work with and to grow up with and spend time with. And I'm also very fortunate to have a family that's been very patient with me all these years of back and forth to Thiel. Terry probably looks forward to the day that you can clean all the Thiel glassware that I've accumulated out of one of the closets and move it somewhere else. My son Thomas is here today, and again, I've had a wonderful family support me throughout this time. And that to me is the Thiel experience. It's about a family, it's about connections, and about a network that just never stops going. I want to remember to mention at the end, there are some people who are not Thiel alums who I am so grateful to for loving this place as much as I have. Jenny Griffin, Roberta Leonard, there's a number of people who've come to work here and have embraced the place in a way that we as alums maybe come by naturally. But for them to come in and to take this institution on as their own, tremendous respect and tremendous gratitude to them. But thank you very much.
It is with great pride and much love that I introduce Dr. Daren Rubino as a recipient of this year's Distinguished Alumni Award. I nominated Darrin for this award for the simple fact that I am so proud of all that he has accomplished. And it was important to me that Thiel share in this pride because of the role it had in shaping the steward of the natural sciences and the liberal arts. After graduating from Thiel in 1995, Darrin realized his dream of becoming a lounge singer wasn't going to happen. So he followed his heart and went back to school. After completing his master's at Clarion University and his Ph.D. at Ohio University, fate landed us at Hanover College in southeastern Indiana, where we still are 17 years later. Darrin is a tenured member of the biology department, committed to turning students into the science professionals they dream to be. Darrin has done many great things during his career, winning numerous teaching awards and research honors, co-authoring a book, serving as president of the Indiana Academy of Science, and receiving the Distinguished Alumni Award today. But I know he measures his success in the success of his students, as they are accepted into graduate school or professional programs, the ease at which they succeed in their paths because of the high quality of education he helped provide, and the ultimate placement in their chosen profession. While I'd like to think that I'm the best thing to come out of his 4 years at Thiel, I really know that the education and opportunities he received here helped make him the outstanding educator he is today, and that he is creating an incredible legacy of future doctors, researchers, scientists, and teachers. And while he may never be a lounge singer, he does get to stand in front of a paying audience every day and share his gift. So congratulations, Darrin.
Hello, everyone. Thank you, Michelle. That was wonderful. I really appreciate it. She's been my support forever. But it's truly an honor to receive this award today, and it means so much because my time at Thiel has been so important to me. I do cherish it. Thiel has shaped me in many ways and has left lasting impacts on me. Most notably, I would say, it was my wife, where I met Michelle, my friend of 28 years and wife of 22 years. I consider the education that I received here as one of my most valuable possessions. I really treasure it. When I came to Thiel, I was just some milquetoast kid from Pittsburgh suburbs. I knew virtually nothing about higher education. And this is the first time I'll admit it in public, but I had no idea why in the world we called our professors doctors. I had no clue what was going on. So after some good friends and some sheepish conversations, I finally cleared this up for me. Yeah. Here's a transition. Yeah, I knew very little bit about what was happening and what had happened and what was about to happen in the world. But my professors and classes really opened my eyes. They taught me science, theology, the arts, culture, economics, straight power, Spanish, philosophy, among other things. They showed me how to speak and how to write. They taught me about having a solid work ethic. But most importantly, they taught me how to think, how to really, really think. And they made me an ardent fan of the liberal arts. So I am currently a professor of biology at Hanover College. It's a small liberal arts college in southeastern Indiana. And I knew I wanted to become a professor. I wanted to do for my students what my Thiel professors did for me. I also knew that I would only be happy if I was a professor at a liberal arts college. I try my best to emulate my Thiel professors. I try to remember and understand that young people will say and do bizarre things. I will try to challenge my students, support them, guide them, and nurture them. It's my job to guide them and open their eyes, just like Thiel did for me over 20 years ago. I can only hope to do half as good a job for my students as Thiel did for me. My education has served me well. I especially thank the biology faculty. Dr. McLean, my advisor, who would never let me take a shortcut. When I tried to not take a hard class, she said, "Oh, that's great. You won't have a future, but that's your choice." I advise my students the same way today. And Dr. Cuff, she was my rock, and one of the reasons I wanted to become a professor. Dr. Despo, who challenged me in class after class after class. And Dr. Odie, who has unfortunately passed, who showed how important it is to understand how beautifully the earth works. I also thank the amazing professors in the honors program, especially Dr. Wilt. I earned my master's and my Ph.D. I'm a doctor now. It's a strange world. But after leaving, I would say that only 2 graduate classes in 7 years were actually challenging. I was so well prepared after leaving Thiel College. So what I learned in and out of classrooms from staff and professors has made me the professor and person I am today. I learned compassion, caring, the meaning of hard work, why a good college is so important to you, and why you should always do whatever it takes to make your dreams come true. And Thiel has given me a lot, and has given me even more today. I humbly thank you, along with my family, for this honor today, and thank you for listening.